From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Circle City casting his vote, what we know about his visit, and the record number of Hoosiers also casting their ballot early. And COVID-19 continues to change how kids are learning in schools. We'll show you a resource helping students and parents manage e-learning and hybrid schedules. But first, here at 4:30, we want to get a look at our forecast. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen is standing by. And yesterday, Todd, a perfect day here in the middle of October. I wish we could have a repeat of that.
Yeah, you know, we're going to get warm here this quickly throughout the day today. We'll be back into the 70s, not quite as warm as it was yesterday, but then the cold front arrives later on this afternoon. So today's one of those days you have to take advantage of the morning hours. We're starting off quiet for a change. No rain to talk about yesterday. We had the fog to talk about. It's nice and quiet as you get going on this Friday morning as we wrap up the work week across the area. Temperatures nice and mild. Look at Muncie, still close to 70 degrees at this hour. 65 in Indy and Bloomington. 67 is the current temperature right now in Lafayette with the clear skies across the area. But you do notice the cold front lurking off to our west. This is going to come through later on this afternoon. And soon as the front comes through, our temperatures will quickly drop across the area. Now, parts of the area under the slight risk for severe weather as this front comes through. It's basically to our north as you work your way from Hartford City into the Marion area up towards Peru and then to Fort Wayne. The rest of central Indiana under the marginal risk for severe storms. Again, no issues the first few hours here this morning. By 11 o'clock and then into the noon hour, a few isolated storms will start to develop. And then this afternoon, that's when the front slides through. But look at those temperatures quickly warming into the low 70s later on today. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you. So last night, President Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden met for their final presidential debate. ABC's Faith Abube is in Washington now with a breakdown of the key moments.
The final presidential debate opening with one of the biggest issues facing this country. A virus that's ravaged the economy and killed more than 222,000 Americans in just 7 months.
I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does.
People are learning to die with it. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
The president defending his handling of the pandemic while painting a rosy picture at odds with what the data shows.
It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner.
We're about to go into a dark winter, and he has no clear plan.
The relatively calmer debate, noticeably low on interruptions, but just as high on attacks.
We have to provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
He was now there as vice president for 8 years. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine.
President Biden, he's a very confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. This is the guy who's tried to cut Medicare.
On the economy, Trump insisting he's better for the job.
If he gets in, you will have a depression the likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks will go to hell.
What is on the ballot here is the character of this country.
In their closing arguments, Trump telling voters economic success will unify the nation. Biden saying if elected, he would represent every American and address systemic racism.
I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire.
And both candidates are back on the campaign trail today. Joe Biden will be stumping in Delaware while Trump heads to Florida. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Vice President Mike Pence is in Indianapolis this morning after holding a rally up in Fort Wayne. The former Indiana governor spoke to a crowd at the Fort Wayne airport about health care plans and showed support for the Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. Social distancing measures here were in place. Some supporters weren't wearing masks. The vice president and second lady will early vote right here in the Circle City later this morning. And our Kelsey Anderson has more on their visit coming up for you in the next half hour. The Pences are not only the only Hoosiers casting their ballot ballots early. We're still waiting on the new numbers from the Secretary of State's office, but as of Thursday morning, more than 388,000 Hoosiers had already returned their absentee ballots to clerks' offices in the mail. Another 477,000 Hoosiers have voted early in person so far. Secretary of State's office says that Indiana is easily on pace to set a new record for early voting. You can also volunteer to help count mailed-in ballots on Election Day. All you have to do is contact your county clerk's office. The U.S. Postal Service says it has transported over 100 million ballots nationwide since September, and that includes the ballots sent to voters and the ballots being returned to election offices. The Postal Service says it has mailed over 500 million pieces of election mail this year. That's a 162% increase from 2016. The U.S. Treasury Department has announced sanctions against 5 Iranian entities for attempting to influence the 2020 presidential election. Earlier this week, the U.S. government found that Iran and Russia have tried to interfere with the election. Their actions ranging from obtaining voter registration information to sending emails to intimidate voters. The sanctions are against the branches of the Iranian Armed Forces and the Iranian Islamic Radio and Television Union. They will block all property and interests of the groups and prohibit Americans from doing business with them. This morning, police are investigating a homicide at a gas station on Indy's northwest side. This happened around 7 last night at the Marathon gas station on North High School Road and 38th Street. Police found a man there with gunshot wounds, and he was taken to the hospital where he later died. Police have not released any additional details at this time. And police are asking for the public's help to find a thief who stole from an INDOT garage. They released these pictures of the suspected getaway truck, which is believed to have stolen license plate on it. The theft happened last Friday at the INDOT garage on Shortridge Road. Police say that a man entered the facility by climbing a fence. He stole several items, including that license plate, which he took from an INDOT truck. It's a blue plate, license number 60077. The thief also returned on Sunday and stole more items, this time mostly tools. He wore a reflective vest and a hard hat, and he was driving the same truck you see in the photos. You can call state police if you have any information. Let's go to the latest now on COVID-19. Indiana recording another single-day record in new cases of this disease. The State Department of Health reporting 2,880 new cases. The previous record was just over 2,500, which was reported last Saturday. More than 155,000 cases have been confirmed in the state since the pandemic began. 42 new deaths were also reported, raising the state's death toll to 3,831. COVID-19 continues to make the school year a challenge, but parents are getting creative to make sure that their kids are still learning, even if they can't always be in the classroom. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows us the resources available for families as the school year evolves.
My kids go to school every other day in person, and on the alternate days, they were at home, kind of goofing off.
Between the challenge of doing her own job and monitoring her kids' virtual schoolwork, Tiffany Tabb is taking advantage of extra help through community learning sites powered by the Mind Trust, which offers e-learning support, a safe place, and meals to all students in grades K through 12. Tabb says she gets why her daughters can only be in school part-time, but says keeping them at home 3 days a week is not ideal.
That's not what I want for them, and that's not really what's best for them. That's not ideal. They really need to be somewhere where there's some structure and where there's appropriate supervision.
Since mid-August, the Mind Trust has been running 15 learning sites across Indianapolis 5 days a week, with 325 students attending from just about every school district. Now, as more schools reopen their physical classrooms, 3 of those locations are extending their services until the end of the semester. You'll find Pam Leeper at the Reset Center location on the east side. She says parents are eager to sign their kids up.
It's just too stressful to, again, if they're at home or if they have to leave the kids at home. Either way, it just concerns them.
The learning site locations are strategically mapped across the city, with Christamore House serving the west side, the Shepherd Community Center on the near east side, and the Reset Center on the far east side. The e-learning support, meals, and supervision are all 100% free. Patrick Jones with the Mind Trust says this is their way of supporting families in a difficult year.
You still don't feel comfortable and safe to send your kids to school. You can send them in a safe and sterilized place where they can come and learn and get cared for in a place that you can feel comfortable with.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
All right, well, the learning sites are available and able to continue thanks to $88,000 of investment from the city and the Mine Trust. The organization says they now have the space to serve 100 students in socially distant settings. So unemployment continues to rise during the pandemic, but issues with the system are making it hard for some to get their benefits. Coming up, the changes experts say need to be made to fix the process. And with more people shopping for the holiday season, Target is adding new safety measures. We'll show you the changes you'll soon see in stores. Todd.
And it's warm and quiet right now across central Indiana with clear skies, but a cold front off to our west will be heading in our direction. And as it comes through, there's the chance for some strong to severe storms. We'll talk all about it coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. The United States is now reporting more than 8.4 million cases of COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. That's the most in the world, according to Johns Hopkins University. And with the continued rise in cases, some areas are adding back in restrictions. The mayor of Chicago, one of those, announcing a new curfew for non-essential businesses in the city. They're required to close between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. The curfew starts tonight. It will last for 2 weeks. Bars without food license are being banned from having indoor service at all. The gatherings are to be limited to no more than 6 people. Chicago's mayor says she doesn't want to add more restrictions, but won't hesitate to move back to shelter-in-place orders if conditions don't improve. New research shows that people with Down syndrome are at a higher risk for COVID-19. Researchers from the University of Oxford report that those with Down syndrome are 10 times more likely to die and have increased risk of hospitalization. Medical experts say that's because many people with Down syndrome also have a weaker immune system and cardiovascular issues. Currently, Down syndrome is not listed by the CDC as a condition that would put people at risk for COVID. Getting unemployment benefits has been frustrating for people all across the country as they deal with different backlogs in the system. Now agencies across the country are calling for change. It includes making sure that every state website is mobile responsive so that people who don't have computers at home can access them. They also want 24/7 access to online services.
Unemployment systems were not built to handle the high volume of claims that we have seen during this pandemic, and they also haven't been built in a way where they're able to easily communicate with the public and with claimants.
Another change they say needs to be made is making a password reset easier. Right now, people have made time to spend hours on the phone trying to reset their password, or they have to wait to get a new password mailed to them. There's also an issue with not all unemployment materials being translated into Spanish or other languages. Simon Michel says that some states have responded to some of these concerns amid the pandemic, but not everyone. An app in Virginia is helping retirees stay connected during this pandemic that is ongoing. The app is called Birdsong, and it helps them use their time to help tutor students virtually. It started at a retirement community in Virginia Beach to help staff and their kids. The app has since grown, with dozens of seniors outside the facility also signing on. The residents say it's a good way they can help give back. At 4:46, let's get a check of our forecast for our Friday. Todd, what can folks expect?
You know, it's a day that's going to kind of have two halves to it, Lauren. We're going to be dry and we're going to be mild the first half of the day. And then this evening, it's going to turn much colder and windy. And then we're going to have in between the transition, which is going to be around thunderstorms across the area. Temperature's at 65 degrees right now, so it's really, really mild when you walk out the door. You do not probably need the jacket here this morning, and the winds are light. Now, if you are walking out the door, I will tell you this morning, and you're not coming home till later on this evening, I would say after 6 o'clock, then you probably want to take the jacket with you. Just kind of tuck it in the car for later on tonight, because as I'll show you, the temperatures are going to drop very, very quickly. 66 right now in Martinsville, 65 is current temperature in Bloomington. Muncie still sitting at 69 degrees and 67 in Lafayette. But look at the sharp contrast right now. It's 69 degrees in Peoria, Illinois. Just go across the state line into Des Moines. The temperature is 36 degrees. That cold front is coming through our area later on today. And soon as that front comes through, that is when you are going to notice the temperatures start to drop off very, very quickly. We're in the 60s here this morning. We should be able to climb up into the low 70s as that front approaches. And then by 5 p.m. we are down to 65 degrees. And as I'll show you in the evening planner in just a second, then we'll quickly fall back down into the 50s. Quiet right now all across the state. Just a few clouds starting to build. The main front is still well off to our west. Right here, as you see it stretching from northern Michigan all the way back down into Kansas. And this is going to make its way through during the afternoon hours. Now, I can't rule out the chance of a few isolated showers or maybe an isolated thunderstorm flaring up out ahead of the front, simply because we're going to kind of increase some instability across the area, and it's going to be warm. So there is the isolated shower threat before the noon hour, but the actual front is coming through during, I would say, 3 o'clock in western locations to about 7 o'clock off towards the east. And you see it starting to get itself together here. And embedded in this front will be the chance of a few isolated strong to severe storms with some gusty winds and the potential maybe for some hail as well as these storms make their way through the area. Storm Prediction Center does have us under the marginal risk for severe weather for most of the area. Get just north of Muncie here into portions of Grant and Blackford County and then into the Fort Wayne area. That's the best potential for severe weather, and that's where we are under the slight risk. High school football games this evening. I do even think with the threat of severe weather, you will get them in. I think the severe threat probably ends around 6 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, the showers diminish, but it becomes very windy and temperatures will fall into the 50s very, very quickly with maybe a lingering shower. But I do think those games are going to get in. You'll just have to really bundle up if you're going to be heading out. Tomorrow morning, we start off in the low 40s. It's a chilly start to the day, and we have some clouds that linger. But as Saturday progresses, we get into more and more in the way of sunshine, and with that sunshine, temperatures will be climbing up into only the low 50s. So yesterday, right around 80 degrees. Today, we still make it into the mid 70s. And then this weekend, we are in the 50s, 30s on Sunday morning. Most of Sunday's dry, Lauren. Some scattered showers develop late in the day on Sunday. Monday, potentially the wettest day that we have in our 7-day planning forecast.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads early this morning. It's pretty quiet so far, as you can see by all the green on our Traffic Now map. Taking you over here to the east side as you're heading in from Post Road into the downtown area, I-65 at the north split. It's a quick 9-minute drive there on westbound I-70. No delays to slow you down. Of course, we'll continue to keep a close eye on your commute and keep you updated on any problems you need to avoid. At 4:49, as you do your holiday shopping, you're going to notice some new safety measures put in place at Target. The company said they're taking more steps like adding contactless self-checkout locations to minimize waiting in line, more parking spaces for drive-up service, and enhancing its contactless same-day services. The store says that new measures will be in addition to the ones that are already in place to keep guests and employees safe. Coca-Cola says it's getting rid of 200 of its soda brands. That's about half of its total brands. Those canceled include some that were already being phased out, like Tab and Zico coconut water. The CEO, James Quincy, did not give specific names of the new cuts, but said the hydration category with Powerade and vitamin water will likely be impacted. Coca-Cola says it will instead focus on more of its profitable brands like Coke Zero Sugar and Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Will you soon be able to get your Chick-fil-A sauce fix right from your local grocery store? The restaurant chain announced its signature condiments will hit some retail shelves, including Walmart and Kroger, at the beginning of next year. They include 16-ounce bottles of Chick-fil-A and Polynesian sauces. Some states will have them by mid-November, but Indiana's not on that list. 100% of the royalties will be donated to a scholarship fund for Chick-fil-A employees. A beautiful wedding gown made out of history. The sweet story behind this parachute dress just after the break. And local hospital networks are addressing racism in healthcare. Coming up new at 5, what they say they're doing to make a change and promote equity in their hospitals. It's 4:51. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 4:55 on your Friday, and we're keeping a close eye on your commute this morning. Taking a look at your drive right now in Hamilton County, going southbound on I-69 between State Road 37, the I-465 ramp system. Everything is traveling up to speed. It's a quick 5-minute commute. We'll keep you updated if there are any crashes or issues you need to avoid. So get a look at this story. A parachute that once saved a World War II pilot's life is now on display as a wedding gown. George Brate served as an Army pilot flying missions to defeat Hitler in Europe. His plane was hit and he had to deploy his parachute. When he safely returned home, he brought back the fabric. With silk in short supply during wartime, his future bride, Evelyn, used it to create her wedding dress.
Something that was meant to save somebody from a crashing plane, who then became the parachute that carried them throughout their marriage.
Well, George and Evelyn were married for more than 60 years. They've both now passed, but their children are sharing their legacy by donating this dress to a New York aviation museum. That is pretty cool, Todd. And a pretty dress, silk parachute.
All right.
There you go.
Absolutely. I like that.
That's awesome.
All right. It's quiet and mild right now, and temperatures will quickly warm here throughout the day today into the mid-70s. But you see that cold front, that'll be heading in our direction later on this afternoon with a round of showers and thunderstorms. Some could be strong to severe. As soon as the front goes through, temperatures will drop very quickly. So if you have plans, and not until this evening, make sure you know that this evening, even though you see that high of 76, it's going to be in the 50s. It's going to get chilly very, very quickly. And then it's cool through the weekend. Most of the weekend's dry with just some showers developing late in the day on Sunday. They become a little more numerous throughout the day on Monday. But much of next week is going to be very, very chilly with temperatures below normal in the 50s. The time now is 4:57. Raphael joins Lauren and I in just a couple minutes when Good Morning Indiana continues at the top of the hour.